Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. A lot of times clients come for consultations with this question that I have responded to the procedural fairness letter already. It's been a few months, yet I did not hear back. My friends have received a response and everybody else that had got the PFL submitted the response have heard back from IRCC. Not me. What is the reason behind it? Now, each case could be different, each circumstances could be different, but at least if I have consulted, let's say on this topic, at least 100 clients, I see one thing in common that I'm going to discuss in this video today so that you don't make those mistakes and probably get a response back from IRCC much sooner. I am Niladri Mukherjee. I am a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. As an organization, we focus and specialize on responding to procedural fairness letter of various shapes and forms. When you get a response time from IRCC, I could tell you that IRCC is smart enough to come up with the decision time, whether with the response time. If it's a 7 days, 15 days, or 30 days. Typically, for a visitor visa, you get 7 days. For a spousal application, you get 30 days because they want to hear more from you, which is why they have given you 30 days. After you give a response, typically, regardless of the nature of PFLs, except for the ones that involve the criminal inadmissibility, such as any previous conviction, such as driving under the influence. Those PFLs take time, but other than that, you typically hear back within 2 months. That's on average processing time, give or take. The cases that take more time are the ones of two nature. Number one, first of all, as I have said, it might have involved a criminal inadmissibility which requires some more time for the background check. That is fair. But the ones of visitor visa, but the ones for super visa, student visas, those do not take much time. The only reason that is probably taking more time for you is because the response was not proper. The response was not how IRCC expected you to give the response. Now, this is what I see in probably 100% of the cases where the response, where the decision time is higher. Once I go back and check the responses that were submitted, I see that there was absolutely no response. Either there was like one pager document with a lot of apology and followed by a couple of annexures, or there were only annexures with no such explanation at all. So IRCC is also confused, like what decision to make, because they do not have exactly everything in front of them to come up with a proper decision. Those are the cases that I think are being taken to the sideline and they keep on processing the other ones. If your file is taken at the backstage, it is imperative for you to understand that they are not going to be awake one fine day and start processing your file. If it is taking more time than normal, you have to do things proactively. Maybe you have to submit a web form. But submission of a web form does not mean that you will get a guaranteed response. If you have emailed IRCC in the past, that PFL response went to the email. Maybe you want to reach back to that very email ID to check what's the update. But if the response was not proper whatsoever, then it's time for you to make a resubmission. Now, regardless of whether the processing, whether the response time has passed or not, because you have been waiting for a fairly long period of time, it is important for you to inform IRCC as to the kind of problems that you're facing. Should there be any agency consideration? Is it a kind of hardship that you're facing because of the delay in decision making? Is there any change in your circumstances that IRCC should be aware of, which would entail them to make a faster decision in your case? If you do not push the case like the way it should be, IRCC is not going to push your case by itself. They are smart. They are a smart decision-making authority, in my opinion. If you provide a crisp, proper, constructive response, like the way it should be, it should ideally be responses, they're going to make a decision quite sooner. But if your response itself was not proper, if IRCC is still confused as to what to do, those are the files that is going to take a long time. So hence, if you have unfortunately received a PFL and you do not want to be at the mercy of IRCC to take their own sweet time to give you a decision, make sure you understand how it should be responded. Now, legal writing is very different. Legal writing comes with a couple of, I would say, etiquettes to be maintained. The flow is different. The facts, how the facts are to be included in those writings are to be different. How your subjective and objective aspects are in tuned with the agency aspect, if there is any, in that PFL response is also very important. So if you do not know how to make a proper response to the PFL, maybe you can consider coming for a consultation. As I have said, as an organization, we deal with this kind of cases a lot, and probably will be able to help you to ensure a proper response is submitted. Once a response is submitted, it's mostly foregone. Obviously, as I have said, you could push and all those things, but it takes time, and a lot of time has already been wasted into the process already. So before submitting a response, it's probably a good idea to come for a consultation to understand how everything else is done, and then press the submit button. If you need our assistance with anything, come for a consultation through the website nuvonation.ca. I'll be more than happy to have a case specific discussion with you and would be able to answer all your questions, and then you can take it from there. Hope this helps. You guys next time. Bye now. Cheers.